p.m. The first order of business is roll call. May we please commence roll call?
Yes, 1 second. Representative Nadala.
Present.
Representative Astor.
Present.
Representative Nida Manuri.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Hamad.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Dillon.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Show.
Present.
Thank you. Representative Villagomez. Thank you. Representative Akande.
Present.
Thank you. And Representative DeBruyne.
Present.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next order of business is reading and approval of the minutes. Please take this time to read over the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, then the minutes will stand as approved. The next order of business is reading and approval of the agenda. Please take this time to read over the agenda. Are there any corrections to the agenda? If not, then the agenda will stand as approved. The next order of business is public comment. Is there any public comment?
No, there's no one signed up for public comment.
Okay. So if no public comment, then we can move on to the next order of business. The next order of business is guest speakers. Taylor, may you please present our first guest speaker?
Yes, so we have today with us the provost of UIC, Susan Poser. She is over academics for the university. And we just wanted to hear from you today to talk about, some of the work you're doing. You were on the town hall, so we heard a little bit then, but maybe updating us on what you have been doing since then, or expectations for the summer and fall semester, and then we'll open it up for questions from the body to ask you.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you. Thanks very much, Taylor, and everybody. I really appreciate having the opportunity to be here and see some of you and talk with you a little bit. And I have my own questions for you too. So I haven't seen the agenda. How much time am I allotted here?
You can have like 20 minutes or so.
Okay, that sounds perfect. My husband's out there cooking dinner, and I said I thought 6:30 would work, so that works well. First of all, let me say thank you for going along with this craziness. I say the same thing to the faculty every time I talk to them. Nobody asked for this. This was quite a surprise. I think that if somebody had asked me 2 months ago, could you shift the whole university to remote learning in 2 weeks? I would have said that's crazy, but here we are, and it got done not just because of the faculty, but because of all of you showing up for classes, continuing to participate, and so on. And I've heard some I'm sure there have been many glitches, but I've heard some also very, very good reports about what's going on in some of these classes. So I just want to thank you and let you know that we spend a lot of time thinking about your situation and trying to help in the ways that we can, and that's why I really appreciate being here, so I can hear, not just speculate on some of it, but really hear some of it for myself. So as far as what I've been doing, I there was a whole lot of things to do, as you know, at the beginning, not just in terms of sort of helping the faculty start to move online during that 2-week spring break that we had. But also thinking about all the policies that we wanted to look at and think about because this was such an unusual circumstance. So you know about the grading policy, and we changed some things in graduate grading as well. and various other things that probably don't concern you as much. There were some more faculty related things. I hope you all saw the email that went out just very recently, an hour or so ago, about financial aid and money that we can provide to you upon application that is from the federal government, the CARES Act that was passed. And so we're very eager to get that out. And I urge you to apply if you want any of it, because it is a kind of first come, first serve basis. And that's all explained in the email. But now really, having spent the first 3-4 weeks of this thinking very deeply about the situation we were in and trying to make sure that we did everything we could to have it go as smoothly as possible, we've now really turned attention to the fall and thinking about the fall. And this is all an exercise in contingency planning, right? The best case scenario is that we would all be back, right? That is highly unlikely in the sense of, back the way we were. I think there's almost no chance of that. And so the question is, what are the other options here? And it seems to me that there are 2 options, and this is how we're planning. And there will be an email about this going out Wednesday or Thursday of this week. The first option is to basically throw up your hands and say, I think this is just going to go on. We can't figure out how to do a partial open, so we'll just be online for next semester. I'm not really in favor of that because I'm not really ready to say that. I'm not sure that the folks in public health and infectious disease who we consult every single day, and in fact, we are very fortunate at UIC to have this huge medical school and hospital operation and clinics and some of the best specialists in the world. And they have been advising us all along this. And so in that sense, we're really privileged that we have that right there as part of the whole university. And they're not telling us to just throw up our hands and say we're going to do this for another semester. So what we're doing is we're doing contingency planning to do a partial opening in the fall. And the basic idea of it is, from an academic point of view, is that we will put large lecture classes online that will open up some very large rooms. We will then, in a sort of stepwise fashion, move classes up into rooms that are approximately 2/3 too big for them under ordinary circumstances. And this, of course, is to get social or physical distancing. Having said that, of course, it doesn't work because we have many, many more thousands of classes that are in that sort of middle range, many more than the big classes. And so we can't just simply put the big lecture classes online and then have everybody else on campus. We're going to have to pick and choose what will be on campus. And so we're working very hard on that right now. We're looking at the classes where the learning goals really require that you be on campus. Things like that are, chemistry labs, some things in the College of Architecture, Design, and the Arts, and some other programs. And we're getting all of that information from the deans, which I should have this week. But most of the classes under this contingency will still be online. There's no way to avoid it and do the proper social distancing. But, or I should say, and so in addition to this planning for what classes will be able to be live, we then have a whole superstructure around that to think about all of the related issues, right? From does everybody have to wear a mask, to hand sanitizer, to how do you, find a distance in a classroom, how do you do it in Student Center East, how do you do it in Student Center West, how do you do it when people are just passing, outside on the campus. The other issue, of course, and we've already heard this from students, is the CTA, and we have to feel that we and you are able to use the CTA in a safe way. And I've gathered some information today about the number of students who commute with the CTA, how long their commutes are, and so on and so forth. And the city is also, thinking about these plans more broadly. And so that's going to play into a lot of these decisions that we make. So there's lots and lots of detail. It's very complicated to plan this way, but we don't really have a choice as between this and just saying everything's online. And I think that there's a decent chance that things will be much better by August from a public health point of view. And we will follow that, and we will do the thing that we are advised. And again, not just by the CDC and other national groups, but also by our own physicians who are here on campus and our own public health experts, what they all have to say about our particular situation. So that's how we're moving ahead with the fall. We are looking to do some focus groups of students. We've already done some to find out what your concerns are about the fall, what your preferences are, so on. And the other thing, of course, is that I didn't mention, it's not all about distancing and masks and hand sanitizer. It's also about the other student services that we offer, including mental health counseling, the cultural centers, which play a very important role here, other student academic support and social support groups, the rec centers, right, and so forth. So this is all, we have a very broad committee or task force looking into all of these issues. But the fundamental question really is, to me at least, can we arrange the schedule so that we can do this? And if so, then we can work with all of the rest of it. So we're hoping to have, in addition to sort of a general announcement about this later this week, we're hoping to come to some really more solid conclusions about it in a few weeks, and then make the call, which of course is always subject to change. And of course, the other thing is, I'm sure you are all aware that one view of what could happen is that this could, really recede in the summer and then come back with the flu season, essentially, in the fall, in the mid to late fall. And so there's also a chance that even if we do start live, some classes live, that we will have to be prepared to pivot back to this, to everybody being home in the middle of the semester. So I don't need to remind you, this is an incredible event. It is this hasn't happened for 100 years. So we happen to be on this earth at this time, and we have to really stick together and try to make the best of it, because there's no substitute for an education, and it will end. And in a year, in 2 years, I have no idea, but we want to make sure that you all have your education, because that's what you're going to need after this, and it's really critical. And so, I think I can stop there. I jotted down a couple of things, but the rest for me is really questions for you, and I don't know how you want to handle this, whether you want me to ask questions or you want to ask questions, but I'm very, very curious. I'll just tell you, I'm very curious to hear from you about your experience in class over these past 4 weeks, about student services and whether you have been able to access them to the extent that you have needed them or wanted them, to the attitude of the faculty and staff that you are interacting with, and the quality of those interactions in this kind of a medium, and to how we can best plan for the fall, given this sort of sketch of a plan that I've given to you just now.
Thank you. So we can open it up for questions. I guess we can go like back and forth. Maybe we can ask a question, you can ask a question, kind of short conversation. I do have one initial question outside of the realm of our academics, is whether or not we'll be waiving the ACT and SAT requirement for the fall 2021 applicants. I know some other institutions were doing that, and I didn't know if we were considering.
That's a very good question. and as you probably all know, right, it's not being given this spring. And in the fall, I think they're trying to do some kind of online thing. There is an actual piece of legislation that was passed by the Illinois legislature some years ago, and some language in some minutes of a Board of Trustees meeting, all of which add up to the requirement of a standardized test taking a standardized test in order to get into the University of Illinois. Having said that, I have raised this issue and it is under discussion. Certainly our admissions office wants to do this for the fall. And so we are working on this. So that's the best I can do right now. This is not a rule of UIC. It's a rule of the University of Illinois, which oversees us, Savannah-Champaign, Springfield. So this isn't a thing that I or the chancellor here can sort of decide.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the body?
I have a quick question about the grading policy that passed, the credit and no credit policy. I have been told by someone who's in pre-med that they might not be accepting a credit, no credit, and that they will require grades in order to be able to be accepted into medical school. Have you heard anything about that, or is there any information on it?
You mean a particular medical school is saying that, or?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of schools did this. Most schools did this, I think it's fair to say, some version of this. And so I would be very surprised if that were true across the board in medical schools. Having said that, as I wrote in the email announcing this, everybody's got to make this decision for themselves based on not just their situation and whether they had enough time to work, but also what the people who are going to be looking at this, what are their standards. I will say that one very interesting, and so I guess I would just say that I don't know what the medical schools are doing. But I would be very surprised if across the board they are not accepting any credit, no credit. Because there are some schools that are just doing credit, no credit. They're not even giving anyone a choice. So that would really surprise me, and it's something that I think this person needs to go to the College of Medicine or to their advisor, and or to the schools that they want to apply to, and look that up. I mean, everybody will know what happened this semester, right? And at some level, what we were trying to do, actually, one of the things we were trying to accomplish by providing this choice was that we figured there were going to be people who had really great grade point averages and were trying to get into medical school or some other form of, post-bac program. And they just, for whatever reason, could not put in the time this semester, maybe because they had to go home and they had, 3 siblings running around under their feet, or maybe they had someone in their family who's ill. There are so many things that could have interrupted the ability to work hard and study. And by giving credit, that grade doesn't interfere with the GPA, right? It's not worth it. So we're really trying to help students preserve their GPA if they suddenly found themselves in a different situation. But it also means that they don't have as many credit hours in their GPA if they do that. So I really was very much in favor of making it a choice, so that if everybody's got a different situation, and you guys are old enough to make those decisions for yourselves, with the help of an advisor and and faculty and so on. I haven't heard that rumor. I'll just say that too. People send me a lot of stuff, and I haven't heard that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the body, or you can ask us a question?
Yeah, I'd love to ask the question. Oh, did you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So I wanted to ask about the system you were talking about for fall 2020. I know it's really complicated, but I was wondering on behalf of international students, So a lot of people left by now, and I've heard a lot of my friends saying that like if university goes online for fall semester, then they will probably be studying back home. So would it be possible, I know it's a complicated system, but would it be possible to somehow say which courses like approximately would go online or not, like in advance, so that students could plan whether like with accommodation and generally, so maybe they would take that course later when things sort out and
Yes,
in
we will
that way.
absolutely do that. In fact, we're going to have a preliminary list within a couple of weeks.
Okay, that was good.
So we probably won't announce it because the way at that time, because the way I see this happening, there's one set of classes that will definitely be online. And online. I mean, the majority of them will be. So really the question is, what is not going to be online? And that's the question we will be able to answer pretty soon. I think what's going to happen is a committee that I've put together with representation from all the colleges, or at least all the undergraduate colleges, is going to look at a list that the deans have given us, try to sort through it, give it to the registrar who does class scheduling, and see if we can make it work from a class scheduling point of view. They've actually already purchased extra software in order to do this exercise. And once we know kind of what we want, then for some of the classes, we will have to go to the faculty and see around the edges if some people say, no, I really can't be live, like I'm over 65, let's say, I'm not going to campus because I'm in a high risk group, then we'll have to switch them out. And so there'll be sort of the decision, the sort of preliminary decision, then there will be some negotiation and figuring out how it's going to work, and then we'll have the classes. And I expect that will be, I don't want to make promises, but a month, 4 to 6 weeks, let's say.
Okay,
It's
so
certainly by July 1st.
so if the class is online or partially live, so it's for like the whole semester, there is no chance that it might suddenly go back offline. So like, I mean, in the middle of the semester. So if the decision is made, it's for the whole semester.
Correct. If it's online, it's not going to change. If it's live, it could change depending on
I see, thank you.
the situation. The other thing is I should have said this before, we're also very aware, I mentioned that there's some faculty who may have underlying conditions or just because of their age feel that it's not safe for them. That's also true of students, right? There could be a student who, for example, we're thinking about freshman seminars because we want to make sure that the first year students develop some kind of connection to the campus. But I'm sure we will have many students in the first year class to have underlying conditions. And so the other thing that we are looking at is how to tape even the live classes so that a student who cannot be there can at least have be able to watch it on Blackboard. So we're thinking of both sides of that issue.
Thank you. Maybe you can ask us one question and then send us notes of other questions, and we can respond via, typed via document.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think my big question is, well, I mean, I can ask it in a bunch of different ways. One is, do you want to come back in the fall, live? And another way to put that is, what's your biggest hesitation about that? Because we're really trying to figure this out, and we can figure out the safety and the distancing and all that, and we're going to do that according to official, people who tell us how to do it. But just in terms of, your feelings personally, but also sort of as representatives, you have a sense of the campus in terms of what we need to be extra careful about. Whether people are sort of just really want to get back to campus and will do it, even if there's some risk. There's always some risk, right? There's risk getting on the subway is a risk, right? Crossing the street is a risk. We take risks every day in our lives. And so the question is, how do you manage risk? This is an added, very significant risk. And what's the tolerance for that? Again, assuming that from a public health point of view, we're told it's safe to do this. It's a long-
Can I go? Can I
Yeah, let's
answer?
have like 3 or 4 responses, and then we can move on with it.
Okay. Hi, my name is Bayan. So to answer your question, so I'm actually a commuter, and in the beginning of like when all this started happening, I had an appointment at the financial aid office, and I wanted to make it to the appointment so we can like speak face to face. And when I was on the CTA, there was like nobody there, and it was actually pretty scary. So ever since then, I was like, okay, no public transportation. So that actually caused me to work less hours in the lab, and then like the whole department was shut down because I work on West Campus, so the whole department was shut down. But then like right now I work online, so that's a good thing. But I was also like unable to do research after that. And so in my thinking, I'm like, if we do go back to school in fall, I'm probably not going to use the CTA because, or like any form of public transportation, because I don't feel safe. So I was thinking maybe students could drive, and then like I'm not sure how the school would help with this particularly, but maybe like offering parking spots for students who want to drive next semester. That'd be a good idea. And I know like a lot of students depend on public transportation a lot, and they can't drive like for multiple reasons. So that'd be mostly concerning for those students who can't drive, who only depend on public transportation. So yeah,
What
that's
scared you about it, or what made you nervous was the fact that it was empty, right?
yeah, the first thing. And then honestly, it's not clean at all. Like it's the CTA. I don't use Metro, so I don't know about Metro, but the CTA is dirty. So like just even on regular days without the whole outbreak happening, it was pretty concerning. Like not being safe. Yeah.
Thank
Are there any other responses or Misty?
Okay, I have a response. Can I go?
Yeah, we can have Nefemi, Misty.
Okay, hi, my name is Nifemi. So I think personally for me, like hypothetically, like I would love to come back to school. Like I think we all miss physically coming to school and just, just being in school. I feel like being in the school environment helps us mentally even just be more focused. Because for me personally, like online has been hard to just focus and to just actually like do my work. But I mean, I've been getting it done. But obviously, like that is only if it is safe. I have underlying health issues and I am not going to come to school until this thing is gone. Like I'm not willing to take any risk. So it's just, I guess it's quite conflicting for a lot of people because obviously we want to come back to school, but people want to be safe. And there's never really any guarantee. You just kind of have to be willing to take that risk. But I can say personally, I don't think I would be, just because I know like the health issues I have, and I'm not really sure if push comes to shove, like that would be even worse for me to put myself in that situation. But I feel like,
you.
sorry?
We do not want that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want that, but I definitely am not necessarily satisfied with the online classes, not because my professors aren't trying, but I just don't feel like I'm learning. So yeah, that's just my personal.
Can you talk a little more about that? Is it because, why are you not learning? I'm really asking that. I'm not putting it on you not learning. But what is it about the teaching that is making it harder to learn?
I think now it's kind of leaving a lot more up to us. And I mean, as a political science major, I have to do a lot of reading and stuff, and that's kind of just normal. But I feel like I'm just not able to get like the same quality of like explanations and just like in class interactions, like discussions. Like we do a lot of things over Zoom, but even on Zoom, like on my class Zoom calls, like nobody says anything, nobody interacts. We just let the professor talk. And like everyone is kind of also just dealing with their own stuff. So, I mean, the professor is not going to be like, oh, everybody needs to answer. Everybody needs this. Everyone needs that. And even for the class that I have a lab in, like doing labs is just so stressful. It's just, everything is just much harder. And that's just one class. I'm not even a STEM major. So I can't imagine how they do what they do, because I'm sure it's just even more stressful. But I feel like because a lot of these classes were not made to be online from the jump, it was even harder for the teachers to transition. So they kind of just had to find quick ways of making things easier for us, that, you know, wasn't the original plan for the class. So assuming next semester would be online, I'm sure things might be a little bit smoother, because if they get to plan ahead of time. But it's like, you know, these classes that we're taking were not supposed to be online from the jump. So just thinking about that, it's definitely not going to be the same quality of, you know, education.
I will say that I had several long conversations just today about how we're going to offer more resources to faculty, and really promote the online learning. And even the classes, you know, when I say online, I mean designed to be online, not just sort of Zoom or
Yeah.
remote. But the faculty who feel that they can do a good job on just doing it remote, through Zoom, let's say, that even for them to provide more resources, which we're actually already providing, but they don't really probably have time now to take it all in. And so we do have a plan to help the faculty with resources to improve it online. And you keep moving around, so I'm looking over here and then you went over there.
We'll have Misty, and then if everyone else can send their question, and Daisy, or I mean, let's make our comments short because we're at 6:40 now. Then we can put in questions. So I see Daniela and I see Sarah took herself off mute. Let's do like minute answers, and like a minute, and then we can have more responses written. And then if you have additional questions, Dahlia, you can ask a question. And then we'll have written correspondence with her, if that makes sense. So like you can send your questions to me via chat or email, and then we can get those answered within the week, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the more you can write to me, the better. I really would love to hear this. And
Okay.
what question you think I should ask you?
Misty, Serica, Daniela, Dahlia. 1 minute.
1 minute.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Is everything good? Okay. All right. So then my thing is just, I want to say that I would love to go back on campus. I am in other organizations on campus. And from what I've been seeing, my fellow students have been saying that they've had a harder time when it comes to focusing on those classes. That it's just that they would prefer like face to face, or they would prefer like their professor to be there just to provide help whenever they're confused. So I think a lot of people would love to go back, as long as the university follows obviously like the health rules. So if we all wear masks, or if we're all wearing gloves or so on, I feel like there would be students who would be willing to do so, but it's just be very difficult, or maybe less with the commuters.
Okay. Thank you. That's helpful.
Or Serica.
I agree strongly with Misty, especially about the organizations. I feel like the orgs bring people together and make them feel like going to campus is worth it. And that's what, like, having fun in school is important just as well as studying. And staying home just in the same place all day makes it really difficult to study. Also, one thing that you can like do to improve quality of online teaching is requiring people to show their video, and maybe that will draw more participation from students. But of course, if they can't, if they have a reason, then they can tell the professor. But that's just a suggestion.
So are in most classes people not showing the video?
Right. Yeah.
Well, you got to show yourself when you show up for class. So. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Daniela.
Okay, awesome. Hi. I just had a few comments. So personally, I would love to go back to campus, especially because I'm an international student. So I feel like I am. That's why I came to this country in first place, and the experience is completely different. Like I don't have no one. Like I live in an apartment alone. There is no family. My family is not cooking for me. Like it's completely different. Like the only thing I have is the university, and not being able to go to a university is terrible because you're just here alone and you don't know what to do, and then classes are not the same quality, and it's really challenging. Also, international students are only able to work in campus, so financially it's really hard for us because all the opportunities, most of the opportunities that the university is offering are especially for national students, which I understand because it's federal money. But then because of this crisis, the exchange rate for every single country with dollar is extremely high. So for my family is not able to work. I am not able to work here because most of my employment, like my only chance to work is working in campus. And if there are no like opportunities to work in campus, and even if there is not the same amount of hours that we can work, this is really challenging for international students to just simply like be here. And yeah. And then finally, I'm also part of the Center for Student Involvement. So some of our events are of course canceled. For example, Spark. There is no way we can have a concert with all the students together. So that's really sad. But if we could look into ways to have events like we would do classes, like for example, some of our events following all the measures and everything. But if we could just go to the university and have like more student involvement, and how my mates have said, just student involvement and organizations and everything, I think that will also help the whole community to feel closer.
Yeah, good. I'm sorry that you're going through this. I can just imagine how tough this is. It's I don't know whether you're living close to the residence halls. I do know that we have a lot of students still, several hundred still in the residence halls and some international schools. And they do plan some activities. Some of it is remote, but if you want to get connected with that, you should send a note to somebody in student affairs, maybe Rex Tolliver or Susan Hegetz, who runs the residence halls, to try to hook you up with some of those activities.
Thank you.
And then Dahlia, you have a final question, and then we can still have a conversation with the provost, just written communication.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, hi. My name is Dahlia. I'm kind of asking this question on behalf of Marion as well. And the question is regarding future semesters, how are textbooks going to work and if they're going to be required? A lot of students I know go to libraries to go look at ones that are on reserve. And since the library will most probably be closed, I'm just trying to figure out how, or me and Marion are trying to figure out how that really is going to work.
That's an excellent question. I can't tell you the answer to that right now. I can tell you that we have a project to try to get, we actually give even an incentive to faculty to try to do, e-textbooks, to use those and modify them for their own purposes. And we have had quite a few faculty do it, but not, it's not universal in any way. That's a very good question, and I will inquire about that. Yeah, because I do think that if we are able to do a partial open, the library will be open. Again, there will be all kinds of rules about it, but it will be open. And but I will let the dean of the libraries know and see if there's something we can do about this. Maybe there are some e-versions that are now coming out because of this problem. But I really appreciate that question.
Thank you, Provost Poser, for coming and answering our questions and having a conversation with us.
Yeah, and thank you. I really appreciate this. Please send all your stuff to Taylor, and if you think of something in a few days, you can. I'm very easy to find. sposer@uic.edu. So just send it along. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Take care and good luck on exams. And thanks for holding this together. It's really important. Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Okay. So if you guys have any further questions or comments that you would like to send the provost, feel free to send a message to Taylor, and or otherwise just email the provost. And her email is pretty easy to find. If you Google UIC provost, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. So yeah, we can move on to the next order of business, which is ex officio reports. May we please have the report of the advisor?
Sure, absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I hope you are well. The only thing I wanted to bring up this evening, which we had touched upon previously, was the additional funding that the university received as a result of the CARES Act. Typically, I think right now the university received over $10 million to allocate to undergraduate, professional, and graduate students. This is in conjunction with the currently existing fund, which is the UNI Care Fund, which is allocated through the Office of the Dean of Students, as well as Office of Student Financial Aid. And so I think that it's imperative that students log on to their accounts and look and see if they are eligible for the COVID-19 emergency grant. If students were not eligible for that particular grant, they are eligible for the UNI Care grant. So the COVID-19 grant eligibility restrictions that the federal government issued is that students had to have applied for a FAFSA, as well as be a citizen of the United States. The UNI Care grant does not have that restriction. Thereby, international students or students who did not apply for FAFSA are eligible for the UNI Care grant. And so I think that is the biggest distinction that I would like to make for this body, so that really the institution is trying to be able to provide funding and or support to all students. And so I would encourage you, as well as your friends, to explore all options. For example, if a student who was denied access through the UNI Care grant, who had applied for a FAFSA, are still eligible for the COVID-19 emergency grant. As I said before, I think it's really imperative that all students explore all their options and ask a lot of questions, because there's a lot of funding out there, understanding that many students and their families have been impacted by what's currently occurring. And so I think I'm going to leave it there. Other than that, I wish you all, hope that you all are well, that you all are safe. I wish you all that good luck on your finals, as those are quickly approaching. And at that point, I yield for questions.
Dean Wright?
Yes.
This is Jocelyn. I believe that permanent residents are also eligible, not just citizens.
Yes. I'm sorry. Thank you for that. Thank you for that clarification, Jocelyn. You're correct.
Hello, this is Daniela. Can a student get both grants?
Unfortunately, no. How it is currently written, students are only eligible for one emergency grant.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I actually have a question.
I can't. Who is this?
Jocelyn. This is Jocelyn. The
Okay.
other Jocelyn.
Okay.
It was just in regard to towards Daniela. We can add those links to the individual grants into our
Yes, absolutely.
into our reports.
Yes, absolutely. I will send both of those to Daniela. And if you would like, I think I have written descriptions for both, along with the distinctions, so I can make sure you have that in order to add to the minutes as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so if there are no more comments or questions, then the report of the advisor will be filed. The next order of business is officer reports. May we please have the report of the president?
Yeah, so good afternoon. This is our final USG meeting for 2020, 19, 2020. So I'm going to start with reiterating what Dean Wright and the provost have said about the CARES Act. So the Congress allocated $30 million or so towards UIC. And so half of that is mandated to be used for students, which comes or is funneled through the Department of Education, as the chancellor has talked about, and 15 million allocated towards students. And he said he's putting 1 million towards, what did that email say? He's putting 1 million towards federal work study students. So that leaves 14.9 million for other students. Read the chancellor's emails for more details, but I also want us to think about those not included, as Dean Wright alluded to. Undocumented students are not included in that. International students aren't included in that. There are some like weird provisions with like something called Title IV eligibility, and that includes like students, I hope none of we are yet, but cannot be in default of loans for any funding. They have to be enrolled in a degree or certification track, which would conflict with the first year global students. Men have to be registered for the draft. You must be a US citizen and things like that. But you did see the extra eligibility for Pell Grant students who have another $1,000, so they can get up to $2,000. And so that's really good for the university because 60% of students at UIC are Pell eligible. So that means there's more access for those students. But this is like MAP grants. It's a bucket of money, and it's first come, first serve. So if you know people who are in desperate need of those dollars, tell them to like apply tonight or like last hour or something, because I expect it to run out quickly. The other universities in the UI system haven't really decided how they're, or haven't announced how they're doing those funds, and some are even holding the funds back for the summer. So it's really cool that UIC, because students need it. Second, I'll be sponsoring a resolution today that I sent a very urgent email about because I wanted to make sure we had attendance today. It's 2020 S10-903, the COVID-19 student relief response. And this is buying 500 Flames Fair cards, 500 can openers, a little over 2,000 stress balls, 200 gloves, and a cooler for the Wellness Center pop-up pantry. And this is to get them ready for students as they come into the summer semester, because the food pantry will still remain open, and get them prepared going into the fall. So we just want to make sure that they're prepped, because that's a service that's desperately needed for students, because hunger is being hungry is a real thing. And then we are going to, the bill also talks about transferring $37,000 at minimum to the Dean of Students UI Care Fund, and I can explain more after reading the resolution, but I said at minimum because we don't want money just kind of sitting in our accounts. So after we finalize all the things we have to pay for, transferring most of the remainder of the balance over to the UI Care Fund so it can benefit students as they need emergency grants. The annual report is on our website, and thank you for Ana Maria for uploading it, and Aitana for making the graphics for the Instagram page. Really cool. Share with your friends. It's the first of its kind that I've known USG to do, and it will really lay the groundwork for upcoming years. It's important because we've had a crazy year, and COVID-19 is crazy that people know what USG is doing and that we're still being effective and still like needed on campus. And some of the highlights, which I thought were cool: we've increased social media following by 60%. We've partnered with over 40 offices and organizations on campus. We've hosted over 20 events and passed 18 resolutions, with the pending resolution from last week and this week, so it'll be 20 after today. And then I also wanted to know that Anshu has assumed the role of treasurer for the remainder of the semester after the resignation of Steve. So that is, I just want to make that announcement. Then The final e-board meeting is tonight after this meeting, so please stay on after this meeting to have like a quick conversation. Congratulations to Anshu and Daisy for the 2020-21 Treasurer and Speaker of the House. And then we had a very successful Spirit Week last week with SAB in partnership with USG, and that was really exciting to see on Instagram. Otherwise, if you need anything from me in the future, you can always hit me up. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Taylor?
Regarding the Pell Grant, I know that you submit the stuff through the my.uic.edu. So once you submit that and you're Pell eligible, are you automatically considered for $2,000, or is that separate application?
I think it's a separate application, but I'd have to read more. I can set up a meeting so we can contact I forgot her name over.
Keely Fletcher is the executive director for financial aid.
Yeah, so we can set up a meeting, contact and see kind of what that looks like, and then try to get some information that's clear out to students, one sentence verbiage. But I think you probably have to do two, but don't quote me on that. We can figure that out.
Are there any other questions for Taylor?
I have a quick question. This is Daniela. So for the one that international students and non-citizen students are able, is that the same emergency fund, the one that can only be about to $500?
Yeah.
Correct.
And that's the one we're transferring funding to.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, then the report of the president will be filed. Next, we have the report of the vice president.
So hi everyone, I hope that you had a good weekend. So the Flames at the Ready event is going to be this Thursday. I'll be sharing the flyer with the USG Instagram, Itana, so that it could be shared on our Instagram. I was pulling it up. This is the flyer. Yeah, so the first self-defense seminar will be this Thursday. In addition to that, something that I've been working on as well is getting in contact with a few groups, because I know that our university and U of I system is trying to get a petition asking for like legislators to provide $40 billion to higher education institutions. I think it was 40 billion. And I know there's a few groups that are trying to get student debt canceled. So I was trying to reach out to one, specifically People's Action, to ask if there's any steps in like a national petition trying to ask for Congress to allocate 40 billion or so to higher education institutions. So I emailed them last week and I'm just waiting for a reply on that, because I think that by creating national pressure and just pressuring our fellow congressmen and senators, it'd be more effective than just one system pushing for it. But yeah, that's some of the things I worked on, and that's pretty much it. If any of you guys have any questions regarding that, I yield for questions.
I'd like to add, I don't know if it's really a question, but I work for the Government Relations Office. So yeah, in conjunction with some other higher education associations, we're asking for 50 to 60 billion, which was our original ask, but we're asking for it in addition to what they just gave us. That federal thing I sent y'all last week about the call to action, I got 10,000 emails from alumni and students. So if you all participated, thank you. But yeah, Student Advocacy Coalition would love to sign on to the bill with you. And we're thinking about doing our own letter from UIC to Chicago delegation, so we can also talk about that.
Yeah, and I guess that's why I bring it up is because I was also working with there's this group called Students for Bernie, and like it's a conjunction of the Bernie campaign, and there's campuses all across the country working on their own like student bailout petitions, like whether it's workers' rights or lowering tuition costs or whatever. So I did contact a few groups there to ask like what their campus were doing. But it's great what the Government Relations Office is doing. Any other comments?
Are there any other comments or questions for Jocelyn?
Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, the report of the Vice President has been filed. Next, we have the report of the Treasurer. So Anshu, would you like to say your report?
Hey guys, thank you for everyone that voted last week. So I've been doing my transition with Steve. Everything's been going smoothly. And I've been working with Taylor to finish all the unfinished work that Steve has left. So that's just my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, so if no questions, then the report of the Treasurer will be filed. Next, we have my report. Hi guys, I hope you're all doing okay and staying safe to the best of your ability. I have no report this week, but I just wanted to say thank you for voting for me. And I hope that next year we'll hopefully get out of this situation, stay-at-home situation safely. But I'm excited to work with whoever will be here next year. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for my report. But does anyone have any questions? Okay, so if not, then my report will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Chief of Staff.
Hi guys, I hope everyone's doing okay. I don't think I have much of a report this week. I've just been doing schoolwork and trying to finalize things on a USG standpoint for the end of the year, making sure everything, the end of the year things kind of just all go smoothly. As a reminder, please do fill out those forms I sent tomorrow morning. Well, my morning is like 12 p.m. So tomorrow at some point, I will be sending out an email to everybody kind of stating, like, you have not filled out this form, you need to fill out this form. If the form does not, if you can't fill out the form or you haven't done anything, like let's say you haven't planned an event so you don't qualify to fill out that form, please respond to that email that I send out just so I know to not send you an email again saying, hey, fill out this form when you don't need to. So kind of look out for that. For the forms in regards to eBoard, I will be emailing and asking you for your transition packets. However, I know it's going to take a while and I'm honestly not planning to start writing my transition packet until I'm finished with my finals, because I know that's going to be a very lengthy process. So I don't want to say there's no rush, but if you don't have it done now, it's more so as me reminding you it's something that you need to do rather than you need to do it at that minute. I hope everyone has a really good summer, because this is probably the last time that I will see you guys in this Zoom space. And I'm going to miss everybody, and I guess this is it. I yield for questions.
No question. Quick. Good job, Talia, and everything you've been doing since you're chief. Honestly, did a great job. I will miss you too.
Thank you, hon.
Are there any other comments or questions for Dahlia? If not, then the report of the Chief of Staff will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee Chair.
Hello. I was here the whole time I was listening. But shout out to Taylor and to everyone that contributed to the annual report. That looks fire. I'm being so honest. It looks really good. I was looking at it when I saw the post on Instagram. But also, for the most part, I want to thank you all for being such a great body and being understanding of the situation that we're currently in. Obviously, reeling off of Dahlia, I genuinely do not have an actual report to tell you all, but I just wanted to thank you all for having all these great meetings, even if we didn't have food, or if we did have food, or if the room wasn't ready, or if they lasted too long. I really did appreciate every single one of you all. Either when you came out to the event, did events, you all seriously, I miss Monday meetings. So that means a lot because I don't like meetings. So I really do appreciate every single one of you all. So if you do need anything over the summer or now, or resources in your community or anything whatsoever, you're more than welcome to let me know. I'm doing a lot of community work in regards to COVID-19 resources. So if you or your community or anyone in your family needs any type of resource or funding from your community, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. But yeah, I yield for questions.
Are there any questions? If not, then the report of the chairwoman of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Legislative Affairs Committee Chair.
Hi everyone. I hope you guys are all doing okay. I don't have a report this week, but I just want to thank everyone for such an amazing year, considering the circumstances. You guys did really, really well, like banding together and just like doing what we have to do with what we have. I also want to say Ramadan Kareem to anyone fasting this month. I know it's pretty hard. It's actually a lot harder to fast when you're stuck at home with nothing to do, but like, because usually people eat just out of boredom, like that's just the first resort. But I hope you guys are doing well. I also wanted to point out that in Chicago, the time to break fast is around 7:45. So even after, if the e-board meeting goes on for longer than that, I just want to let you know I'm just gonna go run and grab something, and then I'll be back. But yeah, thank you everyone. Are there any questions? Okay.
Are there any questions for Arish? If not, then the report of the chairwoman of the Legislative Affairs Committee will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Public Relations Committee Chair.
Yes, that's me. Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, awesome. So, hi everyone. I hope you all are doing well, staying safe and healthy at home. I do not have a report this week like the other e-board members, but I just wanted to say a few words. I'm gonna keep it short just so I give the time back to the rest of the body. So I just wanted to say thank you everyone for a great year and a great semester, even though we have what we have right now. But I really appreciate each and every single one of you. It was truly my honor to serve as your public relations committee chairwoman this entire year and last year as well. For those of you who were in UOG last year, I really had so much fun, and I enjoyed working with each and every single one of you guys. I made a lot of good new friends, and I made a lot of good connections and relationships with you guys. So I'm very thankful and grateful for that. And I want to say I hope you all have a great summer and have a great next year, start of your next year, fall semester. We'll see how everything's gonna end up being or end up being like. So thank you again, everyone, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. And if you have any questions or anything you would like to tell me or talk to me about, I'm more than happy to talk with you guys and answer any questions you might have. So yeah, please reach out and don't hesitate. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, so if not, the report of the chairwoman of the Public Relations Committee will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Student Life Committee Chair.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. I don't have a formal report for this week. I just want to say thank you so much for all of the work that you guys have put in for this school year. I'm really thankful and I appreciate all of your hard work. I want to shout out to my committee members for the events that we put on this year. They were successful. And shout out to Michelle. I know you were able to finish off your last event, but the intent behind it was really great. And yeah, I'm just really proud of all the work that we've done this year, and I can't wait to see what we do next year. And good luck on finals. Push through. We got like what, 1 or 2 weeks left, so we can do it. And once again, thank you so much. I'll yield for question.
Are there any questions or comments? If not, then the report of the chairwoman of the Student Life Committee will be filed. The next order of business is old business, and there is no old business. The next order of business is new business, and we have Resolution 2020-S10-903. Taylor, would you like to introduce it to the body?
I'm on mute. Okay, yes. So Resolution 2020 S10-903, COVID-19 Student Relief Response. First reading today, and then I'm going to executive order it because it's our last meeting, so we can vote on it today. So chief sponsors, Taylor Holmes, president and co-sponsor, Dalia Eladawe, chief of staff. Whereas the undergraduate student government has passed a previous resolution to devote the remainder of its budget to COVID response targeted to students, and whereas the Wellness Center hosts the UIC Pop-Up Pantry, which serves hundreds of students over the course of the school year, and whereas the UIC Pop-Up Pantry will remain open for the remainder of the semester and summer, and whereas the Dean of Students UNI Care Fund provides assistance to and resources to students, who are dealing with personal hardships, and whereas the Dean of Students and UI Care Fund awards one-time assistance up to $500 to students for temporary and unexpected hardship, then let it be resolved the undergraduate student government will purchase 500 Flames Fair dollar cards worth $10, 500 can openers worth $6.54, 115 packages with 24 in each stress balls worth $17.39, 2 boxes of 1,000 latex gloves worth $80, and a QBD cooler for $1,700, totaling $10,429.85 to be donated to the UIC Pop-Up Pantry. Then let it be further resolved that the undergraduate student government will transfer the remaining $11,117.66 from the House Grant Fund and the remaining $14,527 from the Sustainability Fund to the Discretionary Fund, and then transfer $37,000 to the or the remaining budget at the end of the semester to the Dean of Students UI Care Fund. Okay, I stand open. Oh, wait, first let me amend. I'd like to move to amend, and I'm gonna do this in one, Resolution 2020 S10-903 to be 2020 S12-903, and then I'd like to amend whereas the Dean of Students UI Care Fund provides assistance and resources to students who are dealing with personal hardship.
Okay, so there has been a motion to change the resolution name to Resolution 2020-S12-903, and a motion to change the wording so that it says, whereas the Dean of Students U of I Care Fund provides assistance and resources to students who are dealing with personal hardship. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of making that amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, so the amendment has passed. So this is now called Resolution 2020-S12-903. And then we have added the word students after saying the Dean of Students UNI Care Fund provides assistance and resources. Are there any other comments, questions, amendments?
I had a question about the.
Yeah, this is.
Go ahead.
Sorry, this is Dean Wright. So just point of order, the name is the UNI Care Emergency Grant. And so I don't think we need to make an amendment, but I just want to provide the correct name of the grant. So it's the UNI Care Emergency Grant.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I had a question about the 500 Flames Fair dollar cards. Was there a reason why it wasn't Dragon Dollars? Because I know Dragon Dollars can be spent in more places than Flames Fair.
Yeah, so when I was looking up, I chose Flames Fair because Flames Fair could be used in the dining halls and at the, what is that called? The marketplace. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I think Dragon Dollars can also be used at the marketplace as well.
You can use both.
Used in the dining hall because that's what when I was reading the
I don't know
website, it
about the
seemed,
dining hall.
yeah, we wanted it to be able to use in the dining hall for at least a meal.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
I believe you can still use the Dragon Dollars at the dining hall. Can someone confirm or deny?
I think you might be right, Daisy, because when someone runs out of Flamesphere, they ask if you want to put it on your Dragon Dollars, from what I've seen. But I would double check.
Thank you.
Is there a way that we can confirm that like as soon as possible, just so that we can pass this? Or if we can have a discussion as to whether or not we want to do it Dragon Dollars or Flamesphere, just to kind of finalize this, because it is our last meeting and we really need to be getting this money out.
Yeah, so I'm going to read exactly from their website right now. So Flamesphere is accepted at Chick-fil-A, Panda, 605 Commons, Au Bon Pain, JST Cafe, Morgan Street Station, Halsted Street Station, Marketplace, Leaf and Bean Cafe, Daily Grind, Freshie, Argo Tea, and Starbucks at Student Center West. So that's why I chose that.
It says that Dragon Dollars can be used at the GST dining hall, so I don't know if that means it can also be used at the Student Center East one, but
Okay, so I found it on the website. It says it's called Using Dragon Dollars and Flamesphere. It says Dragon Dollars are accepted at the following eateries: Student Center East, Student Center West, James Stucco Towers, Behavioral Sciences Building, additional locations. At Student Center East, at the East Cafe, Halsted Street Station, Subaros, Subway, Burrito Bravo, Dunkin' Donuts, Argo Tea, Panda Express, and Chick-fil-A. I believe that does count because it says the East Cafe.
Okay, so let's make another amendment and say change all mentions, change the mention of Flamesphere to Dragon Dollars.
Okay, there has been a motion to change Flamesphere to Dragon Dollars. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of changing Flamesphere to Dragon Dollars, please say aye.
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 Aye. All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, so if not, then the amendment has passed. And now it says the undergraduate student government will purchase 500 Dragon dollar cards. Are there any other comments, questions, amendments?
I have a question. Why did we do stress balls? I'm just curious, and like not another like antibacterial like stuff, or is anything else? Like why stress balls?
Yeah, so one, antibacterial stuff is really hard to find right now still. Two, we had a conversation with the director of the Wellness Center, and she was interested in having stress balls as a way to provide, because it's the Wellness Center, so they do more than provide food. And so stress balls is a way to kind of help students in what will be a stressful end of 2020 as well. So we thought that was a useful purchase in that regard.
Sounds good. Just wanted to clarify.
And then I did send out the budget, which you should keep to yourselves, which I put confidential on there, but that kind of explains to where we will be after making the purchases. So if you have questions about that privately, I can still answer those. You can put them in the chat box to me directly. So if there's no more questions.
Are there any other comments or questions?
I have a short question. How would we be giving this out? Like, would we give this to the wellness center and they would be giving all of this in the pantry, or how would the repartition be?
Yeah, so we will be donating all of this to the USC Wellness Center and Pop-Up Pantry, and they will be distributing it as giveaways. So it'll be students who come into the pantry and or for any other services on campus can receive these like during their open hours, and they are open to all UIC students. There's no restrictions. And I think they're open like 2 days a week. So it'll just be facilitated through them.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any other comments or questions? Keep in mind
This
that
is
this resolution will be passed today, so.
yeah, Dean Wright again. So, however, one of the things that Taylor did speak with Carol Peterson about was that there would be some form or fashion in which USG would be acknowledged as far as providing these additional funds and assistance to the Wellness Center.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other comments or questions or any amendments?
Okay. I can do the executive order now. I make a motion to have an executive order on resolution 2020 S12-903 to be voted on today.
The president has moved to make this resolution an executive order, so we will vote on it today. All those in favor of adopting resolution 2020-S12-903, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? All right, so if not, this resolution has passed. Thank you everyone for voting. And in that case, we can move on to the next order of business, which is items for discussion. Does anyone have any items for discussion?
Can I add my thing during? I don't, well now. I did put some RFFs on there that just explain the transfers of money, but I also put the RFF on that will be coming from the discretionary fund for the plaque. So thank you, Jocelyn and Daisy, for putting that together. And then I have another, the plaque is in there. And then I have a picture. I don't know if everybody got the picture of the cooler and stuff. Yeah, so cool. That's all I had to add, sorry.
Yep, everything is in the meeting packet. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just wondering, so when exactly were you planning to distribute? Like what time period approximately after the resolution is passed? So when will the products be distributed among students?
Yeah, so pending, well, it's passed now, so now we can send the RFP to the Dean of Students office to process, and then it will be sent to the or shipped to the university, and then once the Wellness Center gets it, they'll be distributing it, and they'll probably let us know when it is, so we can let the body know that they've received it and it's being distributed. So honestly, it's kind of up in the air. Like the Dean of Students process could process it this week, but then Amazon may take a couple of days to distribute because Amazon is getting hit really hard right now. So I can't give you a date, but as soon as possible.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Hi, Dean Wright again. So what we can do is we can inform the body or send a message when the order is actually placed, so you'll know when the order has been placed and an expected shipment date to the institution.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay, so does anyone have any items for discussion? Okay, so if not, then we can move on to the next order of business, which is announcements. Are there any announcements?
Hi, this is Dean Wright again. So first of all, I would like to say that it has been an honor and pleasure to work with USG this past academic school year. I stepped in for Dean Smith, who was away for the fall semester and then left for the spring semester. I can honestly say that I have enjoyed each and every one of you grow in your positions and your roles within USG. I have laughed and chuckled and marveled at the things that you have done. And when I say I laugh, I only mean in a good way. I have enjoyed your meetings, even though they are Mondays at 6 o'clock. And that is been a challenge for me. And I think that USG is moving in a wonderful direction, and I look forward to seeing how you all each grow, or the body grows, this next upcoming school year. For those of you who are moving on, I wish you nothing but the best in your academic careers, and please do keep in touch. And next year, USG's advisor will be Keith Ellis, who is our interim assistant dean of student. He comes from us from the University of South Carolina, and he's currently overseeing our conduct process. And I'm sure that he will be a really valuable resource to you as you move forward. But once again, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to serve in this role. And I appreciate each and every one of you and wish you nothing but the best. So thank you once again.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions?
Quick comment. Honestly, so this is like my first year at USG, and it's been awesome. I loved it, and I can't wait like to see how far things will go. And thank you, Dean Wright, for everything. You helped me a lot with the whole Unity dinner planning and stuff. So thank you for that.
Hi, can I make a comment? This is
Yes.
So this is my first year at UIC and at USG, and this is my first year holding a position at an organization. And I want to say thank you so much, everybody, for making me feel welcome and okay at my job, and just being such a good group of people to be around with. You guys are so awesome. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions?
Yeah, can I add something real quick? Oh.
You can go first. Was that Arish? You can go first. It's okay.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who stepped up to roles that weren't expected this year. Taylor, Jocelyn Bravo, Daisy. You guys honestly did an amazing job and deserve so much more recognition. You guys stepped up, and delivered so well. I just wanted to say thank you, and if we were all in a room, you guys deserve a round of applause. That's Neda. What did you want to say?
Yes, I was gonna say the same thing. You took it from my mouth, but it's okay. Now I can talk about something else. Thank you for saying that, Arish. I totally agree with Arish. And the other thing I want to say, I just wanted to give a shout out to my committee, Public Relations Committee, Aitana, Anna Maria, and Deepa. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for just being an awesome committee. I know, look, we did a lot and we accomplished a lot this year. Our Instagram page, our social media pages, and the YouTube page that we have right now, the new one that Aitana had established and built. So I'm very happy, and I'm very what's the word? Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting it right now. I'm just very happy and I'm very proud of you guys. And also Anna Maria building our website and making it amazing and bringing it up to what it is right now is just so amazing. And also for Deepa for just being my deputy chair and for helping me with taking minutes in our PRC meetings, and also starting your initiative for the USG board. Unfortunately, we didn't continue to finish that, but just taking the initiative and going and buying the stuff from the store and just starting the board and putting the first thing that we wanted to put up there, just amazing. And I wanted to thank you guys for all this, and I'm very proud of what we have done this entire year, and I'm very proud that I got to meet you guys and work with you and just connect together and be this amazing team. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nada. Are there any other comments or questions?
So I'm really thankful for this year. there were a lot of highs and lows, but I really like to believe that we came out stronger in the end. A lot of people had to step up in positions that they weren't really prepared for, I would say, initially, but everyone did incredible in the role that they played this semester. And I'm really excited to see what USG becomes next year. I think even though Alima is no longer part of USG, Alima and Taylor did it incredible in cultivating community and starting that this year. And I know that Wasson and Hannah are going to do a great job continuing that legacy of including policy and policy-based campaigns in our projects in the following year. And yeah, I really hope that you guys come back next year. My representative term hasn't ended, so I'm still technically a representative for next year. And those that are still representatives, I really hope that you guys come back. Those that aren't, if you believe in USG's mission, come back for it and apply to be a representative. I think that USG is going to be in great hands. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next year.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Are there any other comments or questions? Any other announcements? Okay, so if there are no more announcements, then we can move on to the next order of business, which is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
There has been a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All that opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, the ayes have it. So this meeting is now adjourned at 7:29 p.m.